On Christmas morning, my own daughter-in-law renamed our family chat to Grandma Canceled Christmas. My fingers trembled, but I didn't argue. I archived the thread, printed every message, and brewed my tea in silence. They thought the drama was over. It hadn't even started yet. The kettle began to whistle, soft and shrill like an old friend calling for attention. I moved slower these days, but I still liked doing things my way. The scent of chicory coffee filled my kitchen, mixing with the faint sweetness of cinnamon rolls cooling on the counter. The grocery list sat next to me, turkey pickup circled in blue ink. My pill organizer glinted under the light, each compartment a quiet reminder that I'd earned these peaceful evenings. The HOA newsletter was pinned under a Christmas magnet, something about driveway decorations again. Outside, the wind chimes tinkled, warning a storm might be rolling in. I cupped my mug with both hands, letting the warmth steady the small tremor I pretended not to notice. At my age, you learn that silence tells you more than noise ever could. I thought the house was empty, TV muted, heater humming, but then I heard voices, laughter hushed and familiar, floated from the living room. I frowned, no TV, no open windows, just my daughter's voice. I stepped closer, slippers whispering against the hardwood. Isolde's laugh had a sharp edge now, one that didn't belong to the little girl who used to beg for cocoa at midnight. Then came Valora's smooth, careful tone. Too polite to be kind. "Just leave all 6 kids with her," she said, her words slicing through me. "That's it. She's retired. She loves feeling needed." I stood frozen, heart ticking like the kitchen clock. They went on, planning hotel check-ins, spa appointments, a New Year's brunch. My home, my quiet December, had turned into their daycare center. "She's good for it," Valora added. No drama. The words stung more than I'd admit. I set my mug down without a clink, careful not to give myself away. In the reflection of the tree lights, I saw our family photo, me half in the frame. Always the background, never the subject. I moved back to the kitchen. Pulling a small pad from the junk drawer, I started writing numbers, groceries, gas, gifts, deposits, not emotions, just math. I wasn't angry at the work. I was angry that love had been mistaken for free labor. I'd been invisible unless I was useful. But this year, the rules were changing. The phone vibrated on the counter, and I dialed Doretta. She picked up on the second ring. "Baby," she said, "they've been riding your kindness like a city bus. Exact change. No tip." I laughed, a short, bitter sound, and she went on. "Kindness without boundaries turns into currency for folks who don't earn it." She talked sense, like she always did. "Cancel that catering, girl. Call your lawyer. You got time to get your money back." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Doretta had a way of making truth sound less painful. "If you don't set the price," she added, "they'll call you free." After we hung up, I opened the email folder labeled Deck_24_plan. I scanned through receipts, catering invoices, proof of every dollar I'd spent. I took pictures, organizing them neatly. My hand didn't shake now. I wrote 2 messages I didn't send, one for Isolde and Valora. "Don't wait for me, nor the dinner, nor the gifts." The other for my lawyer, Avery. "Trust beneficiary review." The house was still again. Only the wind outside spoke. I turned off the Christmas tree lights and let my eyes adjust to the dark. For the first time in years, I felt clarity instead of obligation. I whispered to myself, calm and even. My schedule changed. My phone buzzed. A message from Isolde. "Mom, we're dropping the kids off at 10 on the 24th. You're a lifesaver." I didn't answer. The porch light blinked twice as thunder rolled in. I put my keys next to the church donation envelope in the ceramic dish. One for leaving, one for giving, and I knew which one I'd be choosing soon. I woke up before sunrise, the gray light still soft over the pines. The first words that came to me weren't about forgiveness, they were a decision. I'm not saying yes, I'm changing the terms. The morning news hummed faintly from the kitchen TV, just enough to keep me company. I clicked open my pill organizer, sipped coffee from a travel mug, and set my notebook on the counter. My list was neat, numbered, and calm. Attorney, catering, bank, insurer, show, church. I wasn't stewing, I was organizing. There's a difference between holding a grudge and keeping records. I slid my iPhone into Do Not Disturb, except for 3 names: Avery, Doretta, Pastor Ruth. I looked at last night's unsent message to Isolde and Valora and decided it could wait. Timing was half the plan. By 9, I had my laptop open. Avery appeared on the Zoom screen, tidy, confident, the kind of man who didn't waste words. I told him what I'd overheard without drama. He asked for dates, amounts, and whether I'd ever agreed to babysit on holidays. No, I said. They just assumed. He reviewed my trust documents, glasses glinting under the desk lamp. You control the disbursements, he confirmed. There's no clause requiring unpaid childcare or hosting. You can end that pattern. He advised I document everything: texts, receipts, screenshots. If they start a group message about tradition, unreply once. Plans changed. I'm unavailable. Short and adult. His tone was firm but kind. Odessa, he said. You're not breaking a promise. You're ending a misuse of your time. I leaned back and smiled for the first time that morning. Next, I called Alma, the caterer. She sounded surprised but professional. Oh, Mrs. Merritt canceling already? She asked. Yes, I said. Please itemize the refund: turkey, sides, delivery. I got the email within minutes, saved it under my folder labeled Deck_24_plan. Then I canceled the private dining room I'd prepaid. They mentioned a small, non-refundable fee. I told them. Consider it tuition. I forwarded everything to Avery with the subject catering reversals confirmed. Every receipt, every timestamp. People respect paper more than memory. So I wrote everything again by hand in my ledger. By noon, I'd spoken with the bank, Leonid, the manager, updated my file. No withdrawals without my in-person confirmation. I added a verbal password. My insurer, Patrice, checked my policy. You're covered, but no active hosting clause, she said. Good, I replied. Choe came next. Margot from the board. No unauthorized guests through New Year's, I told her. She noted it. I checked the porch cameras, made sure the cloud backup worked, then breathed out. Calm is what it feels like when your paperwork matches your intentions. In the afternoon, I met Pastor Ruth at the church. She was thrilled when I agreed to help serve food on Christmas Eve. Boundaries aren't unkind, Odessa, she said. They're honest. She gave me a badge and a shift list, solid proof of where I'd be that day. Doretta called later to confirm she'd drive me if the roads froze. We made a pact of 5 words. No guilt, facts, kindness, proof, by sunset. I was back home when Isolde called. Voice bright and syrupy. Hey, quick question. What size pajamas for the kids? I took a slow breath. I won't be hosting on the 24th, I said evenly. Silence. Then she tried the easy pivot. No big deal. We'll bring their tablets. I'm unavailable, I repeated. Please make other arrangements. When she said, but you already paid for dinner, I answered simply. That's been canceled. The silence after that was long, real and freeing. Before bed, I wrote one last message. Plans changed. I'll be volunteering at church December 24th, not available for childcare or dinner. I didn't add sorry. I put my phone on the counter and watched the timer light up as I scheduled it to send on the 23rd at 6 sharp. A delivery pinged outside, matching Christmas pajamas addressed to Grandma's house. I left the box unopened. Some evidence speaks best when untouched. The house dimmed, the heater clicked on, and I thought, not with anger, but satisfaction. This year, peace won't come by accident. It'll come by decision. The kitchen clock ticked like it had an opinion of its own. I sat at the counter, rereading the message I'd scheduled for 6 o'clock. No apologies left, no softeners, just facts. Plans changed. I'm volunteering at church December 24th. I'm not available for childcare or dinner. My iPhone sat face up. Do Not Disturb still on except for Doretta and Pastor Ruth. The unopened box of matching pajamas sat on the chair by the door. Pink ribbon untouched. I took a slow breath. 4 counts in. 6 counts out. This wasn't anger. It was policy. I whispered the line I'd practiced. I am unavailable. Not cold, just clear. When the clock hit 6, the text went out like a quiet release. I watched both read receipts appear, Isolde, then Valora, no emojis, no replies. I screenshotted the proof and slid it into my folder, deck_24_plan. I poured chamomile tea and leaned against the counter, the steam rising between my hands. Boundaries weren't walls, they were lessons on mutual respect. My phone buzzed. Doretta's one-word text, sent. I smiled faintly and replied with a checkmark. By 7, Doretta forwarded me screenshots from the family group chat I wasn't in. Valora had written, Mom canceled on the grandkids last minute. Guess we'll make it work. Several hearts. One sad emoji. I saw the timestamp. They doctored it. Made me look impulsive. I didn't reply. I added the screenshots to my ledger, labeled Spin Attempt 1, and left Avery a voicemail. Smear via group chat documented. I wasn't angry. Just observant. The same relatives who'd once called me The Rock were now treating me like background noise. I learned a long time ago that silence, properly used, can be louder than any speech. At 8:20, Isolde texted directly. This is how our family does Christmas. You're making it weird. I took a moment, then typed back. Tradition without consent is control. I won't be available tomorrow. Within seconds came another ping. Old photos. My late husband at the table. The year the grandkids wore paper crowns. He'd hate this, she said. I answered. Your father loved service, not obligation. I'll honor him at church. I moved his picture from the mantel into my purse, next to my volunteer badge. Later, Doretta called. You good? She asked. I'm steady, I told her. We confirmed the pickup time and rehearsed our code phrase, tease cooling, for any surprise visitors. Silence unknown numbers for 24 hours, she advised. I did it while she prayed over the line. Facts, kindness, proof. Her voice steadied something in me. At 9:15, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. The transcript scrolled across my screen. Valora? We'll drop them off after their show. No big deal. They'll sleep. My reply was simple. No drop-offs, I'm unavailable. She sent one last attempt. They bought pajamas for Grandma's house. I wrote back. Return them if needed. That ended it. The house was quiet, but the phone pulsed like a restless heartbeat. I turned off the tree lights, lit one candle, and packed my church tote, gloves, thermos, scripture card. I taped a small note by the door. No unattended packages. Avery's email flashed on my screen. You're ending a pattern. I underlined it, closed my notebook, and went to bed with peace instead of fatigue. At dawn. December 24th, the porch camera pinged. I opened the app. Grainy footage of a minivan idling by the curb, headlights washing the porch. No one stepped out. It rolled away after 10 seconds. I saved the clip. Porch 7:10 a.m., idle pass. I zipped my coat, turned the tree lights on for one brief glow, then off again. Some things you illuminate only long enough to see them clearly. By 7:15 that morning, my house was as ready as a soldier in formation. I rechecked every camera angle, made sure the cloud backup synced, and tested the doorbell intercom. A new sign hung beneath the wreath. No unattended minors, no exceptions. I took a picture with the timestamp and logged it in my ledger. Proof before peace. My keys, ID, and volunteer badge sat neatly in my purse by the door. I called Doretta, confirmed our route to the church, and repeated our mantra. No porch debates, stove off, tree dark, motion light set. I closed my notebook and wrote the final line. 7:15 a.m. readiness confirmed. By 8, the minivan returned like a bad rerun. 2 silhouettes stepped out. Valora's sequined jacket caught the light as she carried a gift bag, and behind her, Isolde held that same pajama box labeled Grandma's House. Through the intercom, my voice came even and low. I'm unavailable today. Do not leave children or packages. Valora's tone oozed guilt. It's just for a few hours. Mom, they miss you. I kept my words short. Do not leave anything here. She hesitated, set the box on the mat, then picked it back up when I added, "You're being recorded." I saved the feed, screen captured the clip, and texted both Doretta and Avery. Unauthorized drop-off attempt declined. Evidence saved. I added the entry under S11 in my ledger. Calm stayed my armor. At 10, a police cruiser rolled up the drive. 2 officers approached, hands visible, expressions polite but cautious. "Miss Merritt?" one asked. "We received a welfare check request. Caller said you might be confused." I smiled, not kindly but clearly. "I'm neither confused nor alone. Here's my ID, my church volunteer schedule, and the text thread confirming my plans." I showed them the boundary messages and the footage of the earlier visit. They nodded, understanding faster than I expected. "Mind if we record this interaction?" one asked. "Please do," I said. "It saves me paperwork." They handed me the incident number. I wrote it down. "No minors may be left here today." I added, "Any attempts will be trespass?" Their eyes met briefly before they tipped their hats and left. The house felt lighter after that. I dressed, drove to the church, and checked in at the shelter kitchen where the scent of cinnamon rolls replaced stress. Pastor Ruth hugged me and handed me a receipt. Donation redirected to Christmas Eve meal service. I took a picture and sent it to the family thread with a short message. Tonight's dinner was donated to the shelter in Dad's honor. Receipt attached. No blame. No emotion, just the truth. A boy with shy eyes thanked me for the puzzle I handed him, and that small "thank you" dissolved whatever resentment lingered. An hour later, Doretta showed me Valora's Facebook post. She canceled Christmas. I didn't flinch. I quietly adjusted my privacy settings, wrote one family email. "For clarity, I'm volunteering today. No childcare was promised. Documentation attached." And blind copied Avery. One cousin replied, "Understood." I archived it and kept my peace. Truth didn't need a stage. It needed a record. Back home near dusk, I updated the HOA vendor's guest list, deleted old access codes, and placed a small notice by the doorbell. All interactions recorded. By approaching, you consent. A final safety layer. I made tea. Turned the tree lights on for 10 calm minutes, then off again. My husband's picture stood beside the shelter receipt and my volunteer badge. That was my kind of tradition. The phone rang, screen lighting up with Isolde's name. Her voice came sharp and strange. "Mom, where are you?" I looked at the clock. 6:30. The day had held. My pen hovered over the ledger. "What do you need?" "Isolde?" I asked. Silence. Then a whisper, small as guilt itself. By 7 that evening, I made mint tea and turned my phone to Do Not Disturb, except for Avery and Doretta. The house hummed with quiet electricity, the kind that comes before a storm. I wrote one short line in my ledger. Boundary held. Tomorrow is still Christmas. My husband's picture looked steady beside the shelter receipt, his half smile like approval. "Truth likes paperwork," I murmured, the same way he used to say, "Measure twice, cut once." Then my phone started chiming, one ping after another, like popcorn bursting in a pan. Valora had renamed the family thread. Grandma canceled Christmas. Discuss. My stomach tightened, then eased into something colder. Screenshots poured in, snippets from her Facebook Live painting me as unstable, lonely, holding the kids hostage. I didn't bite. Instead, I exported the entire thread, every message timestamped. Then I typed one calm line into the group. "Please route concerns to email. Do not discuss minors online." Within minutes, Isolde messaged privately. "Mom, can you just tell everyone you'll help tomorrow?" I answered, "No. Plans changed and documented." Then I forwarded the video link to Avery. Subject, defamation log, December 24th. Avery called back quickly. Voice steady, Odessa. Preserve every version of that video. View counts, tags, comments, don't argue, just capture. He emailed a checklist. Metadata from porch footage, live URL, incident numbers, and donation receipts. Together, we drafted a simple response template in case anyone accused me of elder neglect. 3 sentences, all facts, no emotion. Before hanging up, he said, "Sleep easy. You've already won the paper game." I smiled at that. I slept like a locked door, aware but unbothered. At 7:10 the next morning, an HOA auto email landed, noise complaint and welfare concern. December 24th, I exhaled through my nose. Of course, I muttered. When I called the office, the manager read the text aloud, phrased suspiciously like Valora's Facebook caption. "Could you send me the report?" I asked. And please note the attached police incident number confirming all was well. Within minutes, she emailed back an apology. Then came a second email. "Kindly confirm you're fit to host minors." My fingers paused above the keyboard. I am not hosting minors, today or otherwise. Documentation attached. I copied Avery and filed both under S15_HOA. When they can't get in your house, I thought they try to stain your name. At 8 sharp, a knock at the door. Isolde stood there, coffee cup in hand, smile rehearsed. I opened the door to chain length. "Morning, Mom," she said softly. "Let's just talk." I stayed where I was. "Talking is fine," I said. "Boundary still stands." She sighed. "Valora told everyone you'd take the kids. Please don't embarrass her." I leaned forward, voice even. "Did Valora ask me? Or did she assign me?" Her eyes darted. "We both have shifts today," she admitted. "We counted on you." I nodded once. "That's the problem. You counted on me without asking." After she left, I sent a formal notice titled "No Unattended Minors" to the family email. HOA, an insurer, attachments, receipts, timestamps, incident numbers. I deleted both daughters from my home access apps and updated my estate file. Care duties require consent. Boundaries are part of love. Doretta texted a muffin emoji and "proud of you." I saved it. It's good to document kindness, too. The doorbell rang again, certified mail slip. I took a photo and sent it to Avery. His reply came instantly. Probably a bluff complaint, "Don't call them, We'll review together." I scheduled a pickup at noon and set the shelter receipt on top of my binder like armor. "We're not hiding from paper," I told the quiet house. We're walking toward it. At the post office, the clerk handed me a thick envelope. Outside, the winter sun felt sharp. I opened it and read the heading aloud. "Petition for Grandparent Fitness Review." I laughed once, softly. They'd spelled my middle name wrong. "If you're going to come for my crown," I whispered, "at least learn how to spell it." At 9 sharp. Avery's face appeared on Zoom, framed by neat blinds and quiet confidence. "Morning, Odessa," he began, sharing a screen that displayed neat columns, issues, evidence, action. My name glowed at the top, spelled correctly, unlike their petition. "They botched the middle name, filed it wrong, and never served you properly," he said. I nodded, flipping through my binder. Donation receipts, HOA emails, incident numbers, all time-stamped and color-coded. We rehearsed tone and wording, brief, factual, no adjectives, no social posts, no public reactions, everything through counsel. He drafted a cease and desist and preservation notice for the platforms hosting that stream of lies. "I'll get affidavits today," I said. 2 neutral witnesses before noon. Avery smiled. "You've got this down to muscle memory?" By 10, I was at the shelter, where the director gladly signed a statement verifying the donation, date, and my demeanor. Calm, cooperative, appropriate. I thanked her, then called the officer who'd handled yesterday's welfare check. "Mrs. Merritt," he said. "I'll write that there was no issue. Peaceful and compliant at the UPS notary." The clerk glanced at my stack and chuckled. "Paper beats rumor, ma'am." We shared a small, knowing grin. I texted the signed PDFs to Avery before my engine cooled, documenting every step. Time, location, witness names. Some people collected ornaments. I collected ink and evidence. By noon, my banker's email pinged. "Security alert log attached." There it was. An attempted account inquiry tied to an address linked to Valora's email. My HOA followed soon after, noting my porch footage and marking the prior complaint unsubstantiated. "Thank you," I wrote. "Please add, no welfare checks without independent cause." I forwarded both to Avery and my insurer, Who added a fraud flag to my file? Each confirmation felt like a lock clicking into place. I sipped coffee and thought, every door they rattled just became part of my foundation. By one. Avery was at the courthouse e-filing terminal. On screen, he showed me the petition's flaws like a surgeon pointing out clean incisions. Wrong middle name, improper service, hearsay exhibits. It collapses under its own weight. He filed a motion to strike, plus a notice to recover fees for frivolous filing. Then, methodically, he sent our preservation letters to each social platform that carried the smear. Say nothing online, he reminded me. Let the paper talk. Octorite? I recorded a short statement for legal record only. I am safe. I declined unpaid labor, that is all. At 2, I assembled a porch cam timeline. 6:02 p.m. arrival. 6:05 strollers. 6:07 my refusal. 6:12 departure. Neutral captions, no sound. Avery marked it Exhibit C. I added a note to my journal, saying no is not unkind, or by mid-afternoon, the air outside carried that Christmas stillness before sunset. Too quiet, almost expectant. Then the gate latch clicked. Isolde and Valora stood by the car, camera phone glowing. I stepped outside, steady as granite. Mom, Isolde began. The kids are heartbroken. I kept my tone level. No unscheduled childcare, no filming minors. Leave them out of this. Valora waved the petition like a prop. You can't stop me. This is legal. I met her eyes. It's defective. My counsel already moved to strike. I handed each a printed notice. No unattended minors. No recording on premises. The children peered from the back seat, confused and silent. A sedan rolled up. A man in a dark coat stepped out, holding a clipboard. Valora Ankrum? He asked. Her phone lowered instinctively. He handed her the cease and desist packet, crisp as winter air. Isolde's face drained of color. Valora, stop recording, she whispered. I simply held the gate and waited. Silence did the teaching. Merry Christmas, babies, I said softly to the kids. See you when your parents are ready to visit, together. As they backed out, my phone vibrated, an unknown number. Miss Merritt, said a firm voice. This is Platform Legal. We received your notice and several reports about a defamatory stream. Could you confirm the incident time? I glanced at my binder. Every page lined with proof. Yeah, see, I said calmly. And while we're at it, let's talk about ad revenue on a lie. By nightfall, the online noise had dulled into static. I logged each confirmation from Platform Legal, ticket numbers, assumed deadlines, or file IDs, and clipped them to Avery's binder. The chat threads were silent, unread indicators frozen like relics. Even silence. I learned Hay has evidentiary value. My retired nurse neighbor left a voicemail. I saw that live stream disappear. Odessa, if you need a witness, call me. I smiled faintly but didn't call back yet. Discipline mattered more than satisfaction. I plugged in the body cam, duplicated the yard footage onto 2 drives, and labeled them Preserved Copy December 25th. They raised a storm online, I wrote in my journal. But I raised a file. At 7:45 the next morning, an email arrived with the subject line, Policy Review Notice. It was from Valora's employer's HR department, polite and sterile. They referenced my preservation notice and asked to confirm timestamps of the recorded live stream. We're reviewing potential violations regarding online conduct and recording minors. I sent 2 sentences, verified times, ticket IDs, nothing more. Avery texted perfect, fax only. An hour later, HR confirmed receipt, noting an internal compliance review. I logged that phrase word for word. No victory. Just accountability. People call it karma. I call it protocol. By mid-morning, my HOA issued a community email. The December 24th complaint filed against Miss Merritt has been reviewed and marked unsubstantiated. They included a blurred still from my porch cam, captioned de-escalation by documentation. My neighbor texted a draft for their newsletter. I suggested one line. Adults resolve adult conflicts off camera. The next day, the neighborhood Facebook group echoed it. For the first time in weeks, the comments leaned rational. I printed the HOA notice and added it to Exhibit D. When I walked that evening, the same neighbor who'd once crossed the street waved again. Just past midnight. My phone buzzed with Isolde's text. "I'm sorry. Valora said HR wouldn't care. The kids cried all night. I forwarded it to Avery, untouched." A half hour later, another message came. "You're all they have." I drafted a boundary reply. No overnight care. No filming. Legal communication for 7 days. Love unchanged. She responded with a photo of torn wrapping paper. "This is what you chose." I logged it under emotional pressure attempts. Then I wrote in my journal, "Love without boundaries is servitude." The next morning, Avery forwarded an email from their new attorney proposing family mediation. The terms looked kind until I saw the fine print, a confidentiality clause erasing their prior smear and reinstating me as the default caregiver. Avery's draft response sliced through the illusion. Yes to mediation only if evidence stays preserved. No presumption of childcare. Mutual non-disparagement starting now. I added one condition. No children present, adults talk alone. Their counsel pushed back. Avery replied with citations and calm precision. "They don't want peace," he said. "They want amnesia." By afternoon, the community had quietly swung back. Pastor Ruth's voicemail said, "We're praying for wisdom." The shelter posted its thank you notice. My donation mentioned by date, not name. A widow friend dropped off gumbo with a card. "You taught us to keep receipts." I texted her thanks, then updated my evidence binder one last time that night. Vindication had a soft hum. It sounded like paper sliding into place. The clerk's email came before dawn. Motion calendar set for January 5th. Avery predicted fees recoverable if the petition stood as frivolous. Platform Legal confirmed the defamatory stream demonetized. Pending identity verification, I ironed a simple navy dress and practiced calm answers before the mirror. "Yes, Your Honor." "No, Your Honor." The woman staring back wasn't angry. She was ready. By dusk, Isolde texted again. "Can we bring the kids Saturday, both of us, just for an hour?" I replied, "Yes." Attaching a brief conditions sheet, no phones, both parents present, I poured cocoa, set out the board game still unopened from the shelter, and slipped 2 handwritten notes into their books. "Grandma loves you. Grown-ups fix grown-up things." Avery texted back. "That's how you win, without noise." At sunset, something slid under my front door, a plain envelope. Inside was a printout of the group chat from December 22nd, their plan to park the kids and guilt mom into free care. A sticky note read, "You didn't this time. Use this wisely." I stepped onto the porch, the light low and golden, and whispered, "For once, their whisper is my witness." The morning of the hearing began with the soft light of winter sliding through my blinds. I reviewed the printouts from that anonymous envelope, marking timestamps that matched Valora's live stream. Avery's voice on the phone was steady as a metronome. "Facts only, no speeches. Let them hang themselves with their own contradictions. Worry." I packed my binder, 3 copies of each exhibit. My ID, glasses, and a single sentence written in ink across my notebook. "Answer only what's asked." My clothes were simple. Navy blazer, low shoes. I wanted to look like someone's grandmother, not a warrior, though I'd earned both titles. Before heading out, I called the shelter. "Yes, Miss Merritt," they said. "Your donation is logged as anonymous." That mattered. Clean motive, clean conscience. At the courthouse, the air smelled like coffee and old wood polish. Opposing counsel tried one last time. "Would your client consider a private mediation?" Avery replied. "Not without evidence preservation." Valora stared into her phone. Isolde stared at the floor. The clerk pinned the docket on the board. We were third on the list. Avery handed me the draft order. Crisp and blank in parts. No disparagement, no child care assumption. Mutual consent for visits, and our request for partial fees. "You'll initial where you'd accept edits," he murmured. I nodded. It wasn't bargaining. It was containment. When our case was called, Avery stood tall. "Your Honor, this is not about holidays. It's about harassment masquerading as family concern." He walked through the timeline. Group chat smear, HOA correction, HR notice, platform reports. Then he introduced the December 22nd chat printout from the envelope. Their plan was deliberate. Pressure through guilt, monetized by livestream. The judge listened, brows drawn tight. Opposing counsel muttered, "Family misunderstanding." But the judge cut her off. "Who owned the account broadcasting minors without consent?" Avery slid forward the platform's overnight letter. Identity match confirmed to Valora H. Merritt's registered email. Account monetization suspended. Silence landed heavy. The judge sighed. "We'll recess 10 minutes while I draft findings." When we reconvened, the gavel sounded like punctuation at the end of a storm. "Mutual non-disparagement," the judge read. "No expectation of childcare. All future requests in writing and compensated. Prior defamatory content preserved, not deleted. Partial fee shift to the respondent. Sanctions reserved." She turned to my daughters. "Children are not leverage. Adults handle their disputes as adults." My signature was steady when I signed. Avery leaned close. "We did it," he said quietly. "But it wasn't victory. It was repair." Outside the courtroom, the notary waited near the vending machines. I executed the trust rider. Home access revoked. Emergency contact limited. Security zones adjusted. Avery handed copies to their counsel. "Entering without consent constitutes trespass," he said. Tone polite but surgical. No arguments followed. Just stamps, paper, closure. Doors close quietly when the locks are right. I thought, by afternoon, HR confirmed Valora's internal review had opened. OA posted their final notice. No filming minors on private property. I washed the gumbo bowls neighbors had sent and returned them with a note. "Thank you for keeping kindness ordinary." My message to Isolde was short. When you're ready to talk about the kids like grown-ups, Avery can schedule a time. Boundaries don't erase love. They protect it. 2 days later, the children visited. We sat with puzzles and cocoa. No phones, no recording. I read the snowy day. My voice even, their shoulders softening. "You're not a problem to fix," I told them. When they left, I placed our photo back on the mantel. My house was quiet again, but whole. That evening, I slid my binder beside my late husband's watch box. In a single click, I set up a small recurring donation to the shelter in the kids' names. Legacy, not revenge. I stepped onto the porch, breathing air that finally smelled like peace. "Willie?" They came for my silence, Wayung, I see in aloud, and found my paperwork. A voicemail pinged on my phone. "Miss Merritt, this is compliance. We'd like to discuss further actions." I pressed. Save, not play. Some stories end better when you let the silence speak. As I brewed my evening tea, a new message flashed across my screen. Compliance case, escalated. The subject line pulsed like a heartbeat. Outside, a car slowed near my mailbox. Headlights pausing too long. I set the cup down, spine straight. Had the storm truly ended or just changed shape?